We're talking about Tiffany Henyard, the big cheese of Dolton, who's just had a run-in with the boys in blue. And I'm not talking about local cops, but the FBI themselves. Remember those whispers about her lavish shopping sprees? Well, turns out there might be more to it than just a few designer price tags. The feds are painting a picture that's got more red flags than a bullfight. They're saying our girl Tiffany pulled a reverse Robin Hood, turning Dolton's treasure chest into a black hole of debt. Now, this ain't your grandma's small-town gossip. We're talking Kardashian-level extravagance in a place where most folks are just trying to make ends meet. Designer arm candy, jet-setting vacations, and a security detail that'd make the Secret Service blush, all while Dolton's bank balance was doing a vanishing act faster than a magician's rabbit. But hold on to your hats, because we're just getting started. The FBI's got a paper trail longer than a CVS receipt, and they're not playing around. They're coming at Tiffany with everything they've got, and let me tell you, it's about to get messier than a toddler's art project. You might be wondering how a town goes from flush to bust quicker than you can say municipal mismanagement. It all kicked off when Tiffany Henyard swooped in as mayor after the previous top dog, Frank Zuccarelli, unexpectedly bowed out of life's grand stage. Now her last-minute coronation had some folks raising more eyebrows than a surprise cartoon character. But Tiffany, she waltzed in like she was auditioning for Mayor of the Year, promising Dolton's residents the moon, the stars, and probably a few planets to boot. At first, everyone was eating it up like free samples at Costco. Tiffany was the toast of the town, but little did they know, the champagne was about to go flat. Our girl Tiffany wasn't just playing mayor, she was acting like Dolton's own A-lister, strutting around town with promises bigger than Texas and an ego to match. But let me tell you, that new mayor smell faded faster than cheap perfume on a hot day. Before the ink was dry on her fancy new business cards, things started smelling fishier than a seaside dumpster in July. Henyard's reign wasn't just raising eyebrows, it was setting off more alarms than a jewel heist. Anyone brave or foolish enough to question Her Majesty got shut down quicker than a lemonade stand in a hurricane. It was less public servant and more supreme ruler of Doltonland. Now here's where it gets juicier than a gossip mag at the hair salon. While Dolton's piggy bank was on a crash diet, Tiffany was living la vida loca like she'd won the lottery every week. We're not just talking designer labels, we're talking the kind of swanky lifestyle that'd make a rap video look low budget. Fancy getaways, a security team that probably had its own security team, and enough bling to make a disco ball jealous. You might be scratching your head thinking, how in tarnation did she get away with this financial fandango? Well, butter my biscuit, she didn't. The town board, bless their hearts, tried to play financial watchdog. They wanted to dig into this money pit deeper than a prairie dog in a panic. But Tiffany? She wasn't having it. She shut that investigation down faster than you can say nothing to see here.
Elston has been the assessor here in Thornton Township for the past 10 years, an elected position that helps residents deal with exemptions and property tax appeals. But when she arrived at work this morning, something strange happened.
This was your office?
Yes.
What happened when you tried to open it?
It doesn't work.
Not only had Elston been locked out of her own office, but boxes of sensitive documents that she kept in her office were spread around the common area.
This was under lock and key before.
This was under lock and key.
And now it's just out in the open?
Now it's just out in the open. So it has the taxpayer's name, address.
So who did this to you?
Well, I imagine this new supervisor, Tiffany Henyard.
Brian and Natalie, it is very clear that the trustees in Thornton Township have trust issues, refusing to second a motion by Tiffany Henyard to get routine township bills paid.
I motion that we pay the bills for the general fund. Is there a second? Is there a motion and second? Call the roll.
Trustee Jones?
Nope. Radio silence after Henyard attempts to get general fund bills paid. Here's why the trustees didn't go along with it. Last night, the agenda included none of those proposals, so they refused to budge on this.
You guys still don't want to move forward paying any of the bills in the general fund? That is my question.
Is there a day with the previous week that we could pick, that we could set to review the bills?
Trustee, y'all already have the bills. Do you want to pay the bills for the general fund?
What the public needs to know.
Dude, they already know. Stop.
They don't need
Our meeting is on Tuesday.
So that's a no then.
We're here.
That's
We're here.
a no. So
we had time to review it. My question is, are you paying the bills?
To review invoices.
Point of order. Is there a motion on the floor to pay the general fund?
So that motion to pay those bills failed. Henyard adjourned the meeting and walked out. Natalie.
While Tiffany was living it up like she had a golden goose in her backyard, Poor old Dolton was circling the drain faster than a rubber ducky in a tornado. We're not talking about a little oopsie-daisy with the town budget here. No, Siri. This is like watching someone play Monopoly with real cash and deciding to set Park Place on fire for funsies. Dolton went from sitting pretty on a pile of millions to being deeper in the hole than a prairie dog's winter home. We're talking $3.5 million in the red, folks. That's not just pinching pennies, that's squeezing them till Lincoln squeals. Now hold on to your hats, because the FBI isn't just poking around like curious kittens. They're digging into Dolton's finances like there's buried treasure at the bottom. Payroll, budgets, credit card statements. If it's got a dollar sign on it, you better believe they're eyeballing it with a magnifying glass. It's like watching CSI, Small Town Edition, but instead of DNA, they're tracking down every last dime. Poor Tiffany went from being the toast of the town to the talk of it faster than you can say, "Show me the money." One minute she's cutting ribbons and kissing babies. The next she's public enemy #1 with a fashion addiction. It's a fall from grace so spectacular, it makes soap operas look tame. And honey, let me tell you, when the feds come knocking, they ain't bringing a fruit basket. They're treating this like it's the sequel to Watergate, but with more designer labels and small-town drama. Tiffany's empire of luxury is teetering like a Jenga tower in an earthquake, and the FBI's just waiting to yell timber. But here's the million-dollar question, or should we say $3.5 million. What's the FBI gonna do with our girl Tiffany? The FBI's coming in hotter than a jalapeno eating contest, and they're not leaving any stone unturned. Picture this, 2 subpoenas landing on Tiffany's desk like twin meteors. It's like the feds are playing financial Jenga with her life and they're pulling out every single block. First up, they're digging into her personal empire faster than a squirrel bearing nuts for winter. That fancy restaurant? Under the microscope. Her property management gig? They're combing through it with a fine-toothed comb. Even her political piggy bank isn't safe. But wait, there's more. The second subpoena is like a vacuum cleaner for Dolton's finances. Budgets, payroll, expense reports. If it's got a dollar sign, the FBI wants to see it. They're following the money trail like bloodhounds on a scent, and let me tell you, that trail's more twisted than a pretzel factory. Now you might be thinking, is this really such a big deal? Well, butter my biscuit. When a former FBI agent like Ross Rice says it's serious, you better believe it's not just small-town gossip anymore. He's saying there must be some mighty big fish to fry for the feds to cast such a wide net. It's like they're trying to solve a Rubik's Cube of corruption, and every turn reveals a new color of potential wrongdoing. But hold on to your hats, because this rabbit hole goes deeper than Alice's Wonderland. The FBI isn't just zeroing in on Tiffany, they're rounding up her whole posse. Poor old Keith Freeman's feeling the heat too, and other township bigwigs are sweating bullets. It's like watching dominoes fall, but instead of little tiles, it's potential careers tumbling down. And just when you thought it couldn't get any juicier, the feds are out there playing 20 questions with anyone who's ever so much as sniffed Dolton's air. They're grilling local business owners like it's a BBQ competition and chatting up former employees like they're catching up at a high school reunion. But trust me, these conversations are spicier than your grandma's secret chili recipe. With every interview, every document, every stone they turn over, the FBI is piecing together a picture that's looking grimmer than a rainy Monday for Henyard and her crew. The FBI is going through Dolton's finances with a fine-toothed comb and a magnifying glass, leaving no receipt unturned and no bank statement unscanned. They're more determined than a bloodhound on a scent, and Tiffany Henyard's trail of breadcrumbs is leading them straight to the gingerbread house of excess. Looks like Tiffany's days of treating Dolton's bank account like her personal piggy bank are coming to a screeching halt. The feds are closing in tighter than skinny jeans after Thanksgiving dinner, and they've got more receipts than an extreme couponer at a Black Friday sale. Henyard's empire of luxury is wobbling like a Jenga tower in a hurricane, and honey, it's about to come crashing down. But just when you thought this couldn't get any wilder, Tiffany goes and outdoes herself. She didn't just dig herself into a hole, she bought a gold-plated excavator to do it. The amount of taxpayer money she's accused of burning through could make even Jeff Bezos do a double take. It's like she was playing Monopoly with real cash and decided to buy every property on the board. Now buckle up, Buttercup, because this shopping list is about to give you whiplash. First up, the cream of the crop, $1 million police security detail. You heard that right? While Dolton's struggling to keep the streetlights on, Tiffany's strutting around with a security team that costs more than some small country's entire military budgets. It's like she thought she was starring in her own action movie, not running a small town in Illinois. And here's the kicker. While Tiffany's playing Secret Service, the rest of Dolton's left fighting crime with metaphorical water pistols. It's like she's auditioning for Mayor the Action movie, while the real police are stuck in a low-budget indie flick. But wait, there's more. Remember when I said Henyard was living like there was no tomorrow? Well, she took that idea and ran with it like she was competing in a shopaholic Olympics. Picture this. $33,000 dropped on Amazon in a single day. That's not a shopping spree, folks. That's a shopping tsunami. While Tiffany Henyard was treating Dolton's coffers like her personal ATM, the town board decided to fight fire with fire, or in this case, mayor with ex-mayor. Enter Lori Lightfoot, fresh off her stint running the Windy City, swooping into Dolton like a financial superhero. It's like watching a crossover episode of Mayor's Gone Wild and CSI Small Town Edition. When one mayor starts digging into another's dirt, you know the mud's about to fly higher than a cat on a hot tin roof. Now, you might be wondering, what's a big city hotshot doing in little old Dolton? Well, honey, when you've got a mayor spending money faster than a contestant on a shopping spree game show, you need someone who knows how to follow the green brick road. And Lightfoot? She's not just some random Joe off the street. She's got more experience tracking city finances than a bloodhound has sniffing socks. The Dolton Village Board isn't just mad, they're madder than a wet hen in a thunderstorm. They've called in Lightfoot like she's the financial ghostbuster, ready to bust this budget-busting specter. It's like they're saying, who you gonna call when your mayor's gone wild? Lori Lightfoot. Meanwhile, Tiffany's Amazon shopping spree is raising more eyebrows than a surprised cartoon character. $33,000 in a day? Was she buying designer face masks bedazzled with diamonds? Gold-plated staplers? A lifetime supply of gourmet coffee imported from the moon? Whatever it was, it sure wasn't fixing Dolton's pothole problem. The town streets have more craters than the surface of Mars, but Tiffany's living like she's on a permanent vacation to Fancytown. Speaking of vacations, our girl Tiffany wasn't content with just local luxury. Oh no, she had to go global with her spending spree. Fancy trips, swanky hotels, restaurants where the menu doesn't even show prices. If it was expensive, Tiffany was there faster than you can say taxpayer funded. It's like she was on a one-woman mission to stimulate the economy of every place except Dolton. The town's drowning in debt deeper than the Mariana Trench, but Tiffany's out there living her best lifestyles of the rich and famous fantasy. But honey, every party has to end sometime, and when the FBI crashes your shindig, you know it's going to be a wake-up call louder than a rooster with a megaphone. They're going through Henyard's receipts like a mama checking Halloween candy, and let me tell you, they're finding more tricks than treats. With Lightfoot on the case and the FBI breathing down her neck, Tiffany's extravaganza is looking shakier than a Jenga tower in an earthquake. It's like watching a real-life game of Monopoly, but instead of passing go and collecting $200, Tiffany might be heading straight to jail without passing go at all. Lori Lightfoot ain't just some run-of-the-mill political appointee, folks. She's a former federal prosecutor turned mayor, which means she can smell financial funny business from a mile away. It's like sending a bloodhound after a ham sandwich. Tiffany's creative accounting doesn't stand a chance. Now the good people of Dolton? They're madder than a nest of hornets that just got kicked over. Their tax dollars have been flying out the window faster than a teenager's allowance at a video game store, and they want answers quicker than you can say budget deficit. But our girl Tiffany? She's not going down without a fight. She's playing more cards than a Vegas dealer, claiming it's all about politics, gender, and race. It's like she's trying to win the Victim Olympics while wearing a gold-plated medal she bought with the town's credit card. Meanwhile, Lightfoot's digging through receipts like she's searching for buried treasure. Every credit card statement, every expense report, every fancy trip. She's putting this financial puzzle together, and honey, the picture ain't pretty. It's like watching a makeover show, but instead of a person, it's Dolton's bank account getting an extreme makeover, bankruptcy edition. The streets of Dolton are hotter than asphalt in August, with folks protesting and demanding Henyard's resignation. These hard-working people are watching their town sink deeper into the red while Tiffany's living La Vida Loca. It's like she's got a golden ticket to Willy Wonka's money factory, and the whole town's along for the ride, whether they like it or not. At the latest village board meeting, honey, Tiffany got dragged harder than a stubborn mule. The townspeople aren't just mad, they're madder than a cat in a bathtub full of ice water. They're sick and tired of watching their hard-earned dollars vanish faster than a magician's rabbit, all to fund Henyard's champagne wishes and caviar dreams.
Lastly, Tiffany, there's one comment that I've heard out of your mouth that I actually agree with.
woman if she stood on a stack of Bibles and had her tongue notarized. Not a damn thing she says comes out her mouth is true.
One particularly troubling incident involved Lawrence Gardner, a local entrepreneur who claimed he faced intimidation from the police force after declining to support Henyard's political aspirations. This allegation paints a chilling picture of potential corruption and abuse of power. The controversy didn't just rile up the average Joe. Even the village board attempted to assert some control. They voted to scrutinize Henyard's expenditures, but their efforts were swiftly and decisively quashed. It seems Henyard wasn't about to let anyone rain on her parade of extravagance, funded by the town's coffers. The situation took an even more dramatic turn when the state of Illinois, fed up with the ongoing chaos, decided to take drastic measures. They froze Dolton's funds, effectively cutting off the town's financial lifeline. It's as if the entire state collectively decided to ground a misbehaving child, except the stakes are much higher than a typical parental punishment. But the ramifications don't end there. Dolton now faces the looming threat of substantial fines, adding insult to injury for a town already grappling with financial turmoil. The whispers of discontent have grown into a roar, with one brave trustee voicing what everyone's thinking: "Show us the money." It's not just about fancy words anymore. The people want cold, hard facts. And as if the situation wasn't tense enough, the FBI has decided to join the party, their presence casting an ominous shadow over Henyard's already precarious position. The townspeople, once content with their quiet lives, are now connecting dots they never thought existed. The picture emerging is like a toddler's crayon scribble: messy, confusing, and potentially disastrous. The mayor's office, once a symbol of leadership, now feels more like a fortress under siege. But here's where it gets interesting. Dolton's future isn't written in stone. As Henyard's empire teeters on the brink, the town faces challenges that would make even the toughest Texan rancher break a sweat. We're talking about a financial nosedive that's left Dolton $3.5 million in the red. That's not just bad bookkeeping, it's a full-blown economic tornado. Picture this. A town that once had a healthy savings account now finds itself scraping the bottom of the barrel. It's as if someone took Dolton's finances on a wild shopping spree and forgot to bring the wallet home. And it's not just about empty coffers. The town's leadership looks about as stable as a house of cards in a windstorm. With Henyard under the microscope and the town board at each other's throats, Dolton's drama rivals anything you'd see on reality TV. It's the kind of mess that would have gossip channels salivating if it weren't for those pesky federal agents sniffing around. Because let's face it, when the feds start poking their noses into your business, it's rarely for a friendly chat over coffee. But before you start writing Dolton's obituary, remember this. Small towns are like cats. They've got 9 lives and a knack for landing on their feet. This isn't Dolton's first crisis, and it may not be its last. However, let's not sugarcoat it. Henyard's alleged shenanigans aren't just about designer handbags and luxury trips. The consequences are as real as they come, threatening to hit Dolton with the force of a runaway locomotive. Now let's talk cash, or rather the lack of it. Dolton's coffers are emptier than a politician's promises on election night. We're not just talking about a tight budget, we're looking at potential cuts that could hit the town harder than a heavyweight's punch. Essential services? On the chopping block. Infrastructure repairs? More delayed than a flight during a snowstorm. And taxes? Well, they might just climb higher than a cat up a tree. But here's where it gets really dicey. This circus act masquerading as local government isn't just a town embarrassment. It's a business repellent. Who in their right mind would set up shop in a place with more drama than a soap opera marathon? Without new businesses, Dolton's comeback is going to be tougher than a $2 steak. However, don't count this scrappy town out just yet. First order of business? A political fumigation. They need to sweep out the rot and bring in some fresh air. Then, it's time for new blood. Someone who treats the town's bank account with more respect than a teenager with their first credit card. But here's the real kicker. Dolton's recovery isn't a one-person show. It's going to take the whole town pulling together like a team of oxen. We're talking community meetings, volunteer efforts, and maybe even some good old-fashioned bake sales to scrape together some funds. Now, let's zoom out for a second. Tiffany Henyard's fall from grace isn't just local news. It's a wake-up call. While we're all caught up in the drama of national politics, it's the local stuff that can really turn a town upside down. And speaking of drama, word on the street is that Henyard's inner circle is starting to crack. Seems like some folks are ready to sing like canaries to save their own skins. Loyalty? Out the window when the feds come knocking. Because let's face it, when the FBI gets involved, it's not a game of checkers, it's high-stakes chess, and they're grandmasters. The court of public opinion? Already in session. People are calling for everything from life sentences to public shaming. It's clear that Henyard's not winning any popularity contests in Dolton anytime soon. But what do you think? Is this the end of the road for Henyard? Can Dolton bounce back from this financial fiasco?